recorded. So now we'll go to Laplace transform. It's one of the many tools of determining the solution of higher order differential equations with constant coefficients. Now it can process homogeneous and non-homogeneous higher order differential equations as long as the coefficients of the derivatives of your unknown function and the unknown function itself are all constants. So if the coefficient of the derivative of your unknown function and the unknown function itself is not a constant but rather an expression or a function of your independent variable, then Laplace transformation cannot be used anymore. So it's only for those with constant coefficients. Now, Laplace transformation is used in controls because it converts the problem of having to deal with the mathematics behind integration and differentiation into mathematics of algebraic expressions. So you will not anymore required here to do the integral or the integration because the part of the integration and the differentiation is already addressed by the formulas that you will later on know regarding functions which are convertible to functions of S. Functions of S which are actually yielded from the mathematical definition of Laplace. Now, it is, of course, finding the solution, used in finding the solution of linear differential equations with constant coefficients, or in short, CCLODE, constant coefficient linear ordinary differential equations. Now, the mathematical definition of Laplace is this. Now, in textbooks and even materials that you can find in the web, this L is italicized. So, it's an italicized capital letter L representing Laplace transformation. So, the Laplace transform of the function of t, so that's how it's read, or function of x in your case, is actually equivalent to getting the product of that given function by e raised to negative st. Now, the product of these two, you will need to integrate from 0 to infinity. So this is how the formulas of the basic functions of t or functions of x in Laplace transformation is being derived. You are to get the product and you are to integrate the product of these two. Now, as to this exponential function being fixed, a fixed multiplier into your given function of t, the answer is yes. So whatever is that given function of t or function of x, you need to multiply it to e raised to minus st or e raised to minus sx and evaluate the product of the integral from 0 to infinity. But I have mentioned already that we will not do integration here. So this is just the formula of how we get the Laplace transform of basic functions. But as to what those formulas are, these are the formula or part of the, I think, 11 formulas that I will show to you in a little while. So if we will find the Laplace transform of a constant a, like 10, like 1 half, or negative zero point 0.5, or something like that, that would be equivalent to that constant divided by s. So how is this particular general formula came about? So you will have to perform the integral of that particular constant with e raised to minus st from 0 to infinity. The resulting expression is this formula that you are seeing now. So the Laplace transform of a constant is equal to that constant divided by s. So notice, class, that whatever is your given function, may it be function of t or function of x, that particular function is being converted to a function of s when you perform Laplace transformation. So it converts the given function to a function of s because, as you can see here, it's your function is being multiplied to an e raised to minus st or sx. Now, if it is the Laplace transform of an exponential function in which the argument consists of a constant b and t, the formula would be 1 divided by s plus b. So whatever is the constant that is being multiplied to your variable in the argument of your exponential expression, that is the same constant that appears here in the formula. So for example, this is e raised to minus 2t. This will be 1 over s plus 2. This is already said to be the Laplace transform of e raised to minus 2t. If this is positive, this one becomes negative. So for example, if this is e raised to 10t, the Laplace transform of that would be 1 over s minus 10. So if this is negative, this one is positive. If this is positive, this one is negative. So these are just the two example derivation for the basic functions that will be shown to you here. These are the functions that you will be using later on in processing differential equations using Laplace. But before we go to these functions, there are really very important things you need to know regarding the Laplace transformation of a function. So the Laplace transform, that is the function of s, contains no information about the behavior of the function for t less than 0. This is very important in controls later on, wherein you are actually determining the response of your system to a particular disturbance based on a particular amount of time elapsed. So when we speak of time in real processes, time is always positive. So as such, the Laplace transform of your given function will not have any significance or will not hold any information when time is already negative. So there's no such thing as a function, a Laplace transform of a function wherein the t variable or the x variable has a value which is negative. Then this is very important, class. The Laplace transform will not exist for every function of t. What does this imply? That not all functions of t's or functions of x will have a corresponding function of s. Not all functions that you can think of will have a corresponding Laplace transformation. So it has a limitation. So based on its limitation, however, and based on the representation of process disturbance later on in process control, the basic functions that you are learning here would suffice already, meaning they can already be represented by the basic functions that I will show to you in the next slide. Now next, your Laplace transform operator transforms a given function of the variable t or the variable x to a function of the variable s. So you are to remember these three. Not all functions have a Laplace transformation. The Laplace transform converts the function of a given variable to a function of s, and the Laplace transform does not hold any significance or information when t is negative. Now, having said that, we are now ready to look into some common transforms. Of course, they are common because it is the Laplace transform of common functions. So your 1, which is a constant, or in controls, it's represented by the u of t. We call this the unit step function, is equal to 1 over s. If this constant is changed to a 10, then in controls, we write it as 10 u of t. So when you get the Laplace transform of 10 u of t, that would be equal to 10 over s. So you simply copy the constant and divide it by s. For an exponential function, I have shown to you already the derivation in the previous slide. That would be 1 over s plus alpha, where alpha is the constant that is being multiplied to your variable that appears in the argument of this exponential function. The sine and the cosine Laplace transformation looks very similar in terms of their answer. They have the same denominator, which consists of the sum of the square of s and the omega, the w here, the omega, which is squared. They only differ in the numerator. So for the sine, the numerator is the omega, or the constant that is being multiplied to the t here in the argument of your sine. But in terms of the cosine, your numerator is s. It's not the constant that is appearing in the argument of the cosine, but rather it's s. So they differ only in the numerator, but in terms of the denominator, they look similar. Now, the next functions that you are seeing here are actually the shifted equivalent of the two functions you see here on top. Whenever you see an exponential function being multiplied to a sine function or a t function, in this case here, a t raised to n, the said original function is shifted. So we say that this t raised to n was shifted. This sine and this cosine omega t were shifted. Now, when there is shifting, the principle behind class is this. The formula that you have for the unshifted function, you have sine, cosine, and the t raised to n, will be your pattern. What you do, you simply shift the s. The s that appears in the formula, in this case, this would be the 2s here. And in the case of t raised to n, that would be this s here. What do you do with the s? You add to that s the value of the alpha, the constant that appears in the argument of your exponential expression. If your exponential expression has an exponent which is negative, the shifting is positive. So you add to the s in the original answer the alpha. But if this is positive, it should be subtraction here. The same thing is true when you speak of the t raised to n. This n, by the way, has to be a positive whole number constant. So because the formula of that when it's transformed is n factorial over s raised to n plus 1. So if this is a 2, this would be 2 factorial over s raised to n plus 1. Or that would be, then this would be s cubed. Because your n is 2, so you have to add 1 to it. If this t raised to n is shifted by multiplying it to e raised to negative alpha t, the s here in your original answer for the Laplace transformation will be shifted by adding to it the alpha. If this is positive, then you need to subtract the alpha. But in terms of form, they look very similar. You only shifted the s. Actually, in advanced engineering mathematics, this is referred to as the first shifting property of Laplace. Whenever a given function is multiplied to an exponential function, its Laplace transformation is being shifted by subtracting from it, from the s, the alpha value that appears in the exponential function. So if it's subtraction, since this is negative, then this would be now positive. If we have a case of a very simple t function, we call this the ramp function in process control, then its Laplace transform would be 1 over s squared. If you notice, its formula is comparable to this. This is understood to be having an exponent of 1. So 1 factorial over s raised to 1 plus 1. So that would be s squared. Now, the last function that you are seeing here is the Dirac delta function, or we call this the Dirac function or delta function. Now, if you take the Laplace of this, the Laplace transform would simply be n factorial, would simply be equal to 1. The n factorial will be for this, would be equal to 1. If there's a constant that is written before this Dirac or delta function, let's say for example, 2 Dirac delta of t, then this answer will be 2 because the constant that appears before any given function is simply multiplied to the Laplace of that particular function, which I will be discussing in the properties on the next slides. So example, a voltage in volts starting at time equal to 0 is given below. Determine the Laplace transform of this voltage. You could see here that the sine function is being multiplied to an exponential function. In processing the Laplace of this, we set aside the constant, so that is 5, and we multiply it to the Laplace transform of this. If you notice, there is already a shifting. There should be a shifting in the s because your sine was multiplied to e raised to minus 2t. So your alpha here is said to be 2. So what happens is, in terms of the formula of the Laplace transform of the sine, it should be the omega. In this case, the omega is 4. So omega over s plus alpha squared plus omega squared. Your omega is appearing both in the numerator and in the denominator of the Laplace transform of the sine. You shifted the s because of the presence of the e raised to minus 2t. The rest, of course, will just be your algebra. So if you multiply, that will be 20. If you expand, this would be your answer. And s squared plus 4s plus 20. Because this is 16 plus 4, that would make it 20. Now, What about the properties of Laplace, which we have used already? So the first property was already given through that particular example I gave you a while ago. The Laplace transform of any function of t or function of x is linear. Linear in the sense that if it is pre-multiplied by a constant, what you do, you simply multiply the particular Laplace transform of that particular function by that constant. Example, your f1 of t here and your f2 of t are your functions which you need to transform. If these two functions are pre-multiplied by constants a1 and a2, then their corresponding Laplace transformation will be comprising of the two constants multiplied to the corresponding Laplace transform of these two. That's what we have done in the case of this example. The constant 5 was set aside and we processed the Laplace transform of these two, giving us this. Okay. Now, in terms of inverse Laplace transformation, the opposite of Laplace. So, if we have multiplication, the opposite or the reciprocal is division. If we have addition, the reciprocal is subtraction. If we have integration, the reciprocal is differentiation. So, it's the same thing with Laplace. If there is Laplace transformation, we also have inverse Laplace transformation. If Laplace transformation of a given function of t is linear, its inverse Laplace transformation is also linear. So if you are asked to determine the function of t where a particular function of s came from, then you have to set aside the constant for that particular function of s, like this one here. These are the constants. And later on, when you have it inverted, to find f sub 1 of t and f sub 2 of t, these same constants are multiplied to the inverses, just like what you did with Laplace transformation. So both are said to be having this linear and inverse linear transformation. Now, let's have the second example. Now, you are given a standard cosine function and you're given here an exponential function. So if you could see, the cosine has a Laplace transform of s over s squared plus omega squared, or the constant that appears in its argument. But since it's being multiplied by 5, so its Laplace transformation is multiplied also by 5. In terms of the Laplace transform of this exponential function, it's 1 over s plus the alpha. So in that case, that would be 4. It's multiplied to a 3, so then it should be multiplied to a 3, which I'm referring to its Laplace transformation. Then these two, these two terms, you just need to simplify, giving you a 5s over s squared plus 4 for the first, and s over s plus 4 for the second. Now, in inverse Laplace transformation, you just have to make sure, class, you just have to make sure that the given function of s is written in the standard form. What do we mean with this standard form? The form that is comparable to the Laplace transform of common functions that you see in the table. If they're not written in that particular form, you have to make it look like the standard recognizable function of s in terms of form that you see in the table that I have shown to you a while ago. Anyway, the processes will be shown to you here. Now, look at this. We are now to determine the inverse Laplace, meaning this function of s should be returned to the function of t where it came from. Meaning my answer here, if I will transform it, should be my function of s. Okay. Now, this 5 of s, if you recall, class, in the table that I have shown you, there is only one Laplace transform in which the denominator is the s, and that's the constant. The Laplace transform of a constant is that constant divided by s. So naturally, the inverse Laplace of 5 over s here will be 5. Now, if you go to the table again, you will see that the only transform that will have an s squared, is the t function. Okay, for you to recall it, I would like to go back to the table. This one. This is the only Laplace transform here which has the s squared. So meaning if it's a t, then its denominator for the function of s is s squared. So if it is having other constant, then this t is just multiplied to that constant. So let's see in that particular example. So then your t, which has a Laplace transform of 1 over s squared, was just multiplied to 12 because the original numerator here is simply 1, telling you that this 12 must be the constant that was multiplied to the t, whose Laplace transformation is 1 over s squared. For you to do it easily, you set aside all constants that you see and just process based on what you see in the denominator. What do you see here? In the case of the third term is s plus 3. The function that yields an s plus 3 or an s minus 3 or an s plus alpha or an s minus alpha is an exponential function, as you can see here. So meaning, the function that you were asked to invert on the third term of the example came from an exponential expression. I'm referring to this. So automatically, the 3 that you see here is the alpha, which is e raised to minus alpha t. And this 8 is the constant that was multiplied to it. Because if your denominator class is, let's say, for example, an s plus, let's say, 5, if your denominator is an s plus 5, this would be e raised to negative 5t. And then the 8 would still be there because you have the constant 8 being multiplied to it. Okay? So this is how you get the Laplace transform of or the inverse Laplace transform of a constant, yielding a constant, yielding a t function, and yielding an exponential function. Now, what about this one? The denominator is an s squared plus a constant. So if you think, what are the two Laplace transforms whose denominator is an s squared plus a constant? So you only have two actually, the sine and the cosine. In the case of the sine, the numerator is a constant equivalent to the omega that is being squared here in the denominator. In the case of your example here, the 100 came from 10 squared. So then it follows that if this omega is 10, the omega that should appear in the numerator should be 10. And since the original constant here is 200, you are to look for the factors, or you are to look for two numbers whose product will be 200. So if you divide it by 10, the answer of the other number would be 20. So if you multiply these two, that would still be 200. So how do you find this 20? You simply divide whatever constant appears in the numerator by this particular omega that you have taken from the denominator, because you have to make, the goal is you have to make your function of s standard and recognizable in terms of the forms of the function of s that appear in the table that I have shown to you. So constant divided by the value of the omega is being based on the constant that was squared in the denominator. So then it should be 20. This one is the sine of 10t, and that 20 is multiplied to it. There is always a manner of checking whether you're doing the right thing. And that is just like integration and differentiation being inverses of each other. You simply get the Laplace transform of this. If your answer goes back to the given, then you're doing it right. If not, then you must be doing something wrong. That's just how simple it is. If you invert something, take the Laplace transform of your answer, it should go back to the original function of s that was given. Now, what about this? So the big problem now is when your denominator is in the expanded quadratic form. This is what I mean with this is expanded quadratic form. Now you will have to, in this case, you need to factor this particular denominator by using completing the square, if it is possible. What if it's not possible in this case? Then that would yield the answers that will be presented in the next slide. Okay? So this one is actually complex. It's not factorable, wherein you will have, for example, s plus 1 times s plus 2. That's factorable. In this case, it cannot be factored. So how would you go about uh, factoring it in algebra when a quadratic polynomial will not yield linear factors. I'm sure everybody recalls completing the square, and that would be illustrated here on the next slide. Since if you factor the denominator, it will yield you a pair of complex roots, you have to do completing the square. You need to ask yourself, what number will I add to s squared plus 6s so that I will have a perfect square for this 2? How do you get that number? Simply, so take note, simply divide this s by 2 and then you need to square it. So now you divide 6 by 2, that would be 3, and then you square it. 9 then should be added to s squared plus 6s to make it a perfect square, which is s plus 3 squared. Now, since you already have the 9 here and in the original you have 13, you have to ask yourself, what number will I add to 9 to make it 13? Or in that case, subtract this number from 13. That should be the remaining number that should be added. That way, class, even if you have done completing the square here, you did not alter the original quadratic polynomial. It's still s squared plus 6s plus 13. You only did the completing the square. That way, your denominator now for your given function of s would look similar to a recognizable shifted sine or cosine function in the table. What do you mean, Miss, with shifted? Meaning the denominator is either an s plus a constant squared plus another constant squared, or an s minus a constant squared plus another constant squared. So this is what happened here. Okay, you could see now that we have replaced the s squared plus 6s plus 13 by its equivalent, which is already done by completing the square. Now, the thing, class, is this, very important. If your s in the denominator was shifted, the manner of shifting in the denominator for your s should be reflected in your numerator. Meaning, kung ga s plus 1 ka di, s plus 1 ang sa babaw. Kung ga s minus 2 ka di, s minus 2 sa babaw. Amo gina siya ang procedure. So in this case, you will need to reflect the shifting manner of s plus 3 in the denominator in your numerator. Now, what happens if you do that? Your numerator now will be 8s plus 8 times 3, that would be 24. Now notice, class, that what is given is just 8s plus 4. So you have altered already your numerator. What did you learn about in altering or mathematical modification? If you add something to something, subtract it to that same expression. That way you did not alter anything. Remember, this is already 8s plus 24. Your original is only 8s plus 4. So what do? You subtract 24. The 24 that you have here minus the 24 that you have here will be 0. And you have the original expression, which is 8s plus 4. You copy the same denominator that you have, but now you have separated the two expressions. One containing a shifted s in the numerator, another only having a constant. Now, if you will simplify this using algebra, because I know you fully know your algebra, it will go back to the original expression, which is this one. Okay, we just made the original given expression of the function of s recognizable in terms of the answer of a particular function of t in the table that was shown to you. Now, look at this. So this would be now 8s plus 3 over s plus 3 quantity squared plus 2 squared. Now, if it's an s in the numerator, it's a cosine. The 2 came from the omega here. Now, this e raised to minus st, it's because your s was all shifted by adding to it the alpha. So, the alpha here is 3. The 8 is the constant. So, it's 8 e raised to minus 3t cosine of 2t. If you will have is transform amo ni iya answer. So, you know that you're doing it right. Now, we go to the second. A 4 minus 24 is a 20. Specifically, a minus 20. So you change it minus 20. But notice, class, again, if your form of the function of S should be recognizable in terms of the Laplace of the common transform function in the table, if this is omega and your numerator should contain a constant, that constant should also be omega. So if this is a 2 squared, there should be a 2 also. So since you have a 20, you need to factor the 20. That way you can set aside the 2. What remains is the 10. The same is true with what you do with integral. When you multiply by something, divide by something. So it's just like you have divided 20 by 2. So now you have set aside a 10. This 10 is actually what you write before your integral sign, since you only need that 2 in here. But in this case, class, you're not doing integration. You're simply manipulating this particular fraction here. That way, it would look like a standard transformation of the shifted sign. Because now, the 10 will be your constant. And if you transform the e raised to minus 3t sine of 2t, that would be the transform of this 10. That would be the transform of this 10, or rather 2 over s plus 3 squared plus 2 squared. The constant is separated. That's one like this. The same thing is true with this. You only inverted this expression, yielding this one, and the constant appears here. Same thing with this. Inisya mo ang Laplace transform niya sa babaw. You can always do the checking by, especially in inversion, by transforming your function of t to a function of x, s rather. And it should go back to the original expression. This class, especially the CHE, this you will often encounter in control. So you should know how to manipulate your given function of s. That way, it's invertible. I think it's the same true with the ECEs, because in your controls, you don't solve a differential equation using the techniques of integration and differentiation, but rather you solve it using Laplace transformation. Okay. Now, if your particular function of s, for example, is rational, you have the numerator in the function of s and the denominator in terms of the function of s, that's the usual expression that you will encounter when you now get the solution of constant, coefficient, linear, ordinary differential equations. And if you know how to do the method of partial fractions in your integral calculus, the same method will be used in here in processing the solution of your higher order differential equation. Now, we need first, of course, to find the roots of the d of s. You see this d of s here, the denominator. You need to find its roots, or you need to write this d of s in the factored form, whether consisting of linear factors or quadratic factors. In that case, you could see that the factors are written here. So this is s, p1, s, p2, s to the pm. They all represents what we call the roots. Now, in controls, especially in ECE, the roots are referred to as the poles. The values of the constants that you will subtract or add to the s in the denominator, which will go back, which will expanded, will go back to the original